Welcome to Whacky Wednesday, everybody. Spirit saying, jump straight in here. If we have come here with a list of things that we want to experience through our physical avatar that we call lessons, and then the lesson presents and we fail to complete it, it spills over to the next lifetime. Or maybe it could be, I'm not so sure I handled that experience as well as I wanted to. So I think I'm going to add it to my list to experience it again in hopes that I have a different outcome. And then it spills over into the next lifetime. It's the tumbling tumbleweed effect, my friends. But let's just say none of that's true. Because we have amnesia. What do we know, right? Well, let's just say you're facing your daily to-do list. And everything that you do, you look at it as a lesson, not as a chore or not as an obligation or not as this is how I contribute to my lifeline and the lifelines that I've created or that I'm embodied with under the same roof. Now, let's just say you've experienced things that cause trauma and you've stored the trauma, but you're not sure where the trauma came from, or you're exactly sure where that trauma came from, but then you prevent yourself from allowing yourself to go into that trauma to overcome that lesson. You allow it to be your rite of passage. I experienced this before, and so therefore I am traumatized, and you have no right to ask me how to do this, that, and the other, because all you're doing is triggering me, and now it's your fault. And you become more into that downward spiral of victimism within that particular lesson. When really Spirit's saying, let's get you out there and experience that experience so that you can get over that lesson and go to the next one and complete it with more grace and ease and put it to rest. Yeah. I've got somebody right now who's got some PTSD. She experienced some things when she was younger, and therefore it spills over into massive anxiety when she's thrown from what she thinks is one position and then someone puts her in another position in her job. And then it comes out in physiological sweating, stomach in knots, dropping things, absolutely falling apart. But the lesson here is, okay, all this shit's triggering an emotional physical trauma I have stored somewhere from some place. And I think I know where it is, but I'm not really exactly sure. But either way, it's there. It's in your face, and it's in everybody else's face. And now what are you doing? That karmic lesson is now spilling over and affecting innocent people, creating more karma lesson. And you're gonna have to figure out, oh God, now how do I erase all that? Or am I gonna have to come back and redo it all again? Because I don't like the way I handled that. My point is, Spirit keeps saying, what is in your face, deal with it. Shut up, sit down, connect with your breath, expand your awareness, contract your awareness, ask for things to be pinpointed, get in the commander seat and override some of those physiological responses that short circuit you to the point where you're freezing and you want to run like hell from yourself and everybody else. In the meantime, you're trampling over innocent people because of the inability to sit in the commander seat. The inability to sit in the commander seat. We are here right now, helmets on, ready to headbutt everything we came here to do. And relying on all this over-the-counter Band-Aids and all these other things, if it really truly helps you get to the next step, that's great. But if you're using it as an adhesive because you really don't want to face possibly falling apart and going into the ball of the trauma, you may be dissecting it from a place of better understanding, maybe with a different eye view, different feeling view, and then trusting that your circuitry board has all the manuals and dials it needs to move you around and get you through it. Each time gets better and better. So most of us run from our fears, or we avoid them, and we create resistance. And then it comes back to everything everyone's listening to. If you think you're an awakened person, that something's coming. She's coming around the mountain when she comes. She's coming around the mountain when she comes. Well, I've never seen her come around the mountain, and I stopped looking. So we can't look at what we think everybody's guesstimating is coming around the corner. Because now our nervous system is completely wrenched out of shape. Remember what I talked about with those neural pathways and the messengers. They get a message and they're dun 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 dun. They wind up someplace else and don't go where they're supposed to go. And then it's not until you really start noticing memory or aches and pains or stomach problems or headaches or fatigue or any of these multitude symptoms that people want to chalk up to ascension symptoms. They're all there to say, hey, sister, you're human. Hey, mister, you're human. You're going through all this stuff because things are coming up to the surface for you to face it and erase it. Okay, there's one more thing off my to-do list. And if it shows up again a little bit, well, you get in there and you face it and you erase it. And then you fill it with source light. You fill it with beautiful source light. Every time you face it and you erase it, you hit it with source light. Spot treat. Laser. Yeah. Fill it up with that source light. So we are responsible for our individual operating manual. Our hardware and our software depends on that manual. And that manual also includes growing up, having a job, eating healthy, performing a job so that you can get paid. And if you're going to get paid, you better perform that job well. But we're forgetting that we have the job of life. And then we're putting the job as our number one primary process. And then we're a slave to that job because that's the most important thing. Because without that, we wouldn't have a roof overhead, food on our table, clothes on our back, and the list goes on. Cell phone bill paid, whatever that is. So we've been putting the job on primary, and the job could be just sucking the life out of you. So if you have a job that's sucking the life out of you, you've got some choices in those lessons. I'm either going to embrace, and I am going to work this job, and I am just going to love it. No matter what it brings to me today, good, bad, or indifferent. Or I'm going to say, to hell with this. I'm going to start looking for a replacement. Something that's a little more fulfilling, but I can still meet my financial obligations in order to live a life. And that's when we back up and we start looking more at the heart center. What could I do? So let's just say you can't leave your current job because all your benefits are there and your 401k and all that package stuff, right? So maybe what you could say is, what could I do in my spare time that would nurture my heart and the hearts of others? How could I be of service? And then really tap in and then carry that energy over into your 5-day-a-week job. Because you know what? It's so easy to complain. It's so easy to point the finger. It's so easy to roll our eyes and say, okay, just let me get through another day. Oh dear God, let me just get through another day. Okay, do you even hear what that sounds like energetically? It's like, we know what the traffic's going to be like getting to work, but yet we'll go, oh dear God, the traffic. Instead of saying, you know what? Thank you, two arms, for driving this car. Thank you, car, for being safe on this road. Thank you for getting me to and from my job. And you know what? When I get a little bit more fed up, perhaps I won't have a job that takes me down these roads. Perhaps I'll have one that's a little closer to home. Or I can at least go without gridlock. What a concept. So we're in the time of change. We're in the time of change. And the change starts right here with you. The change starts right here with me. And then we play our instruments in a different way. And sometimes we don't realize that we can hit some of these high notes and we can literally vanquish by facing and erasing some of these obstacles that are placed in front of us, called our life lessons, karma, whatever you choose to call it. Just don't take that life lesson and start spewing it everywhere because of your inability to deal. And now you've affected innocent people that didn't need to be affected by your inability to deal. You guys know I talk about this. It just ain't right. It ain't right. Your bad mood shouldn't be spilled over and doused on anybody. Remember, you are a beacon of light. Remember, everything you do emanates outward. And then it'll pick up whatever might be close to that and it sucks it right in. So that people see you're coming and they're like, please don't look at me. She's always bitchy. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm getting that that's enough on that topic. Got a couple other videos that need to pop out here. So I'm just gonna do them one after the other and post them out. So, what's your job today? Not to douse, spill over, or spin your BS, your inability to deal with your own life lessons onto anyone else. You're gonna get in the commander seat and you're gonna take charge of this vehicle. You're gonna look to see the manual and you're gonna maybe rewrite the manual or maybe look on a different page of the manual that may have some creative instructions on how to operate this better. But it takes action, your action. You've got to step into the next phase of the karmic lessons, or whatever you want to call them, and not take down anyone with you while you're in the middle of that lesson. It doesn't mean like I'm finding my voice because I'm just gonna tell people like it is, because that's just what I gotta do. That's my lesson. Maybe your lesson is just to see, sense, and feel things differently and create a better boundary for yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean you got to bellow out, because that actually comes from a place of, I don't feel protected, so therefore I'm going to yell loud enough for you to know I'm protected, and you're going to be scared to come near me because you have just gotten on my last nerve and blown my fuses. Okay, sometimes that's going to happen, and sometimes it's important, but are you actually putting it towards the real trigger, the real person? Because remember, it's usually the most innocent people that you're going to spew on. So let's spew less, and let's let other people live their life while they're learning their lessons, and we're learning how to adapt to a new circuitry board that operates this vehicle. All right? Operate it like it's a powerhouse, because it is. And you haven't even seen everything on that dashboard yet. It's gonna be like, ooh, this is so cool. All right, any questions, comments, or concerns? My link is in the description. Remember, I'm still doing zone therapy techniques for $65. You want to help balance, reboot, reset yourself for upcoming new tomorrows and your responses to tomorrows. Get yourself a zone therapy technique session. All right, see y'all later. Bye.